guys? Welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today in the Ask SSM video series, got an email from a subscriber. This guy's 34 years old. He's done, in my opinion, very well for himself in his life thus far. He really busted his tail in his 20s on his grind, getting himself in a good career in trade, making money, got a house at an early age. He was doing well. And now at 34, he's reached a point where he's, frankly, in my opinion, depressed because he feels like, what's next? He doesn't have a family or kids. He's not interested in getting married or anything like that. And he's kind of run out of things to look forward to. He's a guy, in my opinion, with a man without a purpose. And when a man doesn't have a purpose, he feels lost. He feels just, a lot of guys fall into depression. And you're going to see that, unfortunately, his unhappiness has led to him gaining a bunch of weight and stuff like that. And so he's writing in to see if other guys are like that. Have I gone through things like that? And advice I can have to help him get out of his funk, And that'd be an excellent one to go over because I guarantee you there's a lot of guys out there like this. I've been through this a couple times in my life too, which I'm going to share. Not like to his degree, but I understand and how I got out of it. And it's really, at the end of the day, for guys out there, it boils down to purpose. I know I bring this up all the time, but a guy has to have a reason, new goals, new things to conquer. Otherwise, he starts to feel bored and useless. Women, feminine energy is about connections and relationships and bonds, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's feminine energy. Masculine energy has a lot of things, but one of them is obviously achievements, conquering, that type of thing. And we're not going to go conquering our neighbors, but we can conquer goals in life. And when you start to run out of things like that to look forward to, new goals, you kind of get like this. So anyhow, gentlemen, I'm going to go through this story. It's not going to be a super popular video because there's nothing crazy going on, but this is truly in the self-help type of thing. And hopefully at the end of the story, and I go through his email not too long and share my stories and what I went through when I went through something like this, it can help him out. And any other you guys out there that might be thinking or feeling the same thing as this guy here. So he says here, oh yeah, by the way, guys, if you haven't done already, come check out my men's community over on Patreon and Locals. If you haven't done already, come on by. You can click on the link in the top of the comment section, become a free member and see what it's about, or become a paying subscriber or supporter on either one of them. And you get access to 3 exclusive videos a week, commercial-free, not on YouTube, as well as all my stuff in advance and commercial-free. And you get the chance to chat with me and other guys and have a good time over there without YouTube getting in the way. Okay. Sales pitch done. And thank you to all the guys that signed up. So he says here, hey SSM, I know this is a bit out of left field for you, but I was wondering if you could maybe share some wisdom for us middle-aged guys like myself who feel trapped and bored in life. It's an important topic, and I know I'm not the only one. I'm in my 20s. I worked really hard to reach my career goals, and I succeeded. I became an electrician and bought my first house on a lake at 23 years old. Wow, man, that is awesome. That is huge at 23. Shit, nowadays, doing that at 33 is considered really, ahead. And congratulations pursuing a solid, always in demand trade as an electrician. You obviously worked hard, like you said, saved your money, and there you go. Well, fast forward a few years, I'm 34 years old now, and things have just gotten so boring and stale. The same old day in, day out. Wash, rinse, repeat. Feeling dead inside. I built a new house and moved in last year, but somehow the newness has already worn off. So I'm talking about, and I want to make something clear, guys. This guy is not ungrateful or unhappy with what he has. I guarantee he is. It's just that there's nothing new. He needs a new mountain to climb. He needs a new goal. I don't think he realizes this yet. A lot of people don't have this. A lot of people don't have homes. And believe me, he's not ungrateful. It's just that it's like he had the success early on. Now he needs something new. I've gotten really fat and out of shape. So this year I bought some exercise equipment and I've been seeing modest results. This does give me something to do, but you can only work out for so long per day. Did you, SSM, ever feel this way in your mid-30s? Bored, unmotivated, and enthusiastic about life in general? I'm wondering if hitting a plateau is common for middle-aged men like myself, and if so, what you did and can be done about it. Bro, I went through this twice, not to your degree, but twice, and I'll be happy to share about it in a moment and help you out. I've never really had many hobbies in life. Aha, that's a problem. because my parents were helicopter parents and never got me into anything or ever let me do anything as a kid. I know it's not really a story video like you usually do, but we really appreciate the videos where you cover a topic sometimes and give your take on it. Any advice you can provide would be appreciated, man, even if it's a short video. I've been a loyal listener of yours for years, and I've even been able to use your things that you've said as lessons for a few of my blue pill buddies who have domineering boss babe wives. FYI, I've been single for 10 years, learned my lesson the hard way in my 20s, but that's a story for another day. Take care, Evan. Okay, man, so I'm glad you wrote in. This is a really good topic. Again, it's not going to be some crazy video that you guys are used to. It's going to get not a lot of views, but I think it's an important subject. So, in my opinion, you're 34 years old, and my first incident like this was at 35, so pretty darn close. Very interesting. It's interesting because up until, for the most of human history, most people died by the time they got to be in their 40s, if not close to 50 years old, if you guys are well aware of that. You know, it's not that in the span of human history, it hasn't been that long that, you know, people are living older. You know, of course, you occasionally have somebody live to be really old, but most people died in their 40s or 50s. So it's any wonder a lot of people have midlife crises or things equivalent to that when they start approaching 40. In your situation, man, I think, again, because you busted your tail when you're young, which you're supposed to do, and you got a job as an electrician, which is a great trade. You obviously made decent money and saved it because you bought your first house at 23. Maybe you did a fixer-upper, I don't know, but regardless, your first place at 23 is phenomenal. And obviously, you've been doing your thing since. And you said recently you got a new house, but the newness and excitement of that wore off, and now you're just bored. And again, I stand by the fact that I say that it's not that you're ungrateful for what you have. It's just that you're like, now what? After all this, now what? I'm only mid-30s. And obviously you've been putting on weight because you've been depressed and unhappy. And some people can say, well, this guy needs to get a life. I don't think it's a case you don't have a life. It's just that you're now a man without a purpose. And this is why it's so important, guys, have goals. Masculine energy. Again, like I said in the beginning, about achievements, conquering things, you know, that type of stuff, amongst many other things. And for you, no new goals. And so let me break this down for a second here. You asked about me. Did I ever experience something like this? And I did twice in my life. First time was 35 years old, and the second time was 45 years old. At 35 years old, and let me time out here real quick before I get into my story, because you guys like stories. I also have to say this. I think another reason a guy's feeling this way is because most men have families by the time they're in their mid-30s. Our guy's chosen to be a bachelor, as many of you guys have for very good reasons. I understand that perfectly well. And if you had a family and kids, that'd be your purpose, along with other things. Raising those kids, taking care of those kids, taking care of the family, helping them, you know what I mean? And that would keep you busy on a purpose for decades, right? And then potentially being a great grandpa one day. But you don't have that. And a lot of guys don't. So right now it's like, what else? Well, okay, back to me. So I had my first similar experience when I was 35 years old. We're talking 2013. And so at that point in my life, I was doing very well for myself. I had a business I had now for like 12 years, but my business was running its course. It was no longer fun for me. It was no longer a growth business. It was actually contracting, so that wasn't very fun. I had a girlfriend, and she was great, but there was nothing really serious going anywhere, as you can probably imagine, because I certainly didn't want to have a family and kids. I had some friends, but a lot of them were having kids themselves, so I didn't see them very often. I had to own a condo, and I was happy about that. You know, I didn't need anything more than that. Had my 2 cats. That was great. But I felt kind of in a rut, like there's nothing new to achieve. And so one day I decided, you know what? I always wanted to go back into martial arts. I tried it a couple times, one time in college for a few months, 21, a few years later, another place for a few months, but I never found a place that really was good for me. And I looked around, boxing schools, martial arts schools, and I saw in my town, actually 10 minutes away, was a great school that offered 3 martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai kickboxing, and Krav Maga. And I'm thinking, this could be really cool. I need a change. I need a new challenge, because I had no new challenges. I had no new goals and stuff like that, you know. So I went there to check it out, and I met with the instructor, watched the class. He let me participate in the class. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I was sold, and I joined. I couldn't decide what art I wanted to take, so I took two: Krav Maga and Muay Thai kickboxing. They would help each other, complement each other. And so anyway, I started then, and I loved it. And I now had new goals, because it's like, okay, I want to have the skills of a black belt. I learned quickly that belts don't matter, but when you're a white belt, of course, you want a colorful belt around your waist. And I immersed myself in it. I was training. I was going there 4 times a week, sometimes taking 2 classes at a time. That's 2 hours of classes, practicing before class, practicing after class. And I started making friends with so many people that went there. I need to not only have a new goal, but also to increase my social circle, you know? So I started, every class, you'd have a partner you trained with, and I would meet somebody new every time, and I asked them how long they've been here, what got them going. And after about a month or two, I knew a lot of people. Because when you partner with different people, it's always advantageous in martial arts, because everybody has different skill levels, or stronger or faster, you know? And immediately, I knew this was it. I loved it, fell in love with it. And so that set me on a path of having a new goal. And I suddenly stopped feeling depressed all the time. I started making new friends, like I said. Soon I was hanging out with them, so a new circle to hang out with and do stuff with. You see what I mean? Purpose. I had goals, right? And that eventually led me down the path after 2 years of it to say, you know what? I love this. I want to be a trainer. I've been lifting weights since I was freaking 14. Had a couple of years of under my belt, no pun intended, about training, and I decided to switch careers. I decided I was going to get my personal training certificate, license, whatever you want to call it, from NASM. Meanwhile, I was running my current business I had. And so I studied for 4 months real hard to pass the test. I passed it. And then I got myself a job at a local gym, with the idea of working at a local gym for a couple of years, and then eventually going off on my own for my own personal training business. Meanwhile, I was beginning the process of winding down the business I had at that point for 14, 15 years. So I had more goals, you see. I had the passion of martial arts, made new friends, new purpose, new goals, feeling good. Eventually, things didn't work out with the girlfriend. She was done. That's a whole other story, you know. Great girl, but it didn't work out. We didn't want the same things. And eventually, I was working at a gym. A couple of years of that, I went to another gym, and then I started my own training business, and off I went. And eventually then, after about a year or so, I had a good full clientele. I was making damn good money. And so for all these years, purpose, goal, something new, and that's my point. And I think that's what you, man, are lacking, and many guys are. They need new challenges, new goals to expand their social circle of good people, as well as something to strive for. And so this went on really well for a few years. And then 2020 came around. COVID hit the world, and I decided to start a YouTube channel. Strong, successful male right here. Some of you guys have probably been watching me since the beginning on my couch, okay? And I might add, at that point then, I'd been doing very well as personal training, and I tried to start a YouTube channel for personal training. That didn't work out, but I learned a lot. And then I started this. And because of COVID and being the right place at the right time, and I guess obviously I did something right, and this channel took off. And more goals, as you can see. And then eventually I started the second channel, more goals and more achievements and all that. Things that are motivating, making me feel good. Now, sadly, I lost a lot of the friends, the majority from martial arts, when they found out what I was doing on YouTube. A lot of them were very liberal types and didn't even give me a chance, and that's a shame. But still, that time martial arts was the best time, one of the best times of my life. And so, man, I was feeling on top of the world. And that's why I think a lot of guys need a challenge. Well, anyhow, guys, that I then experienced the same thing again at 45. In 2021, I decided it was time for me to move. I was tired of Massachusetts for a lot of reasons. And so I thought about Texas or Florida. Ultimately, I chose Florida. And I knew exactly the type of place, the house I wanted to get. I always lived in a condo, but at this point I wanted to get a house. I had actually sold my condo in 2021 because the market was through the freaking roof in Massachusetts. My buddy his family is in the real estate business, and he rented me a place for a couple of years in the transitionary time, and I'm glad I did that. So I had the cash, and so I decided Florida could be it. So I looked around different parts of Florida, but I found the place that I wanted to be, and I decided 2023 was the year for me to move. So came down here, and I kid you not, the stars aligned. I saw the place I wanted to on like Zillow and Truly and all that. Came down here. I had a friend of a friend recommend a realtor down here. She was great. First house I looked at is the one I got. And I kid you not, guys, the stars were aligned. It had everything I freaking wanted. No joke. Had the in-ground pool, beautiful neighborhood, quiet neighborhood, great area happening. 2-story house. Had a guest house on the property, so when family stays, they can stay separate from my house. A lot of room for my pool table, a courtyard, privacy, the works. Everything I possibly wanted. I lucked out so much, you know? So I moved down here in October 2023, drove down here over a weekend with my cats in the back, and the movers had everything in the house coming down here from Massachusetts. And I got here, and it was just unbelievable. And I spent, obviously, weeks unpacking all the freaking crap I have and getting the furniture set up and deliveries and all that. And I was feeling on top of the world. And then, because I'm 45 years old, all of a sudden it hit me. It hit me like a ton of bricks. Holy crap. Is this it? As in, I've wanted this for so long. I've been planning this for so long. Is this it? No new goals. Now, again, let me make this clear. A lot of you guys may think at SSM, you sound like an ungrateful a-hole. You have this great life. You're doing what you do on YouTube, making a living doing that. You got this house you always wanted, blah, blah, blah. What do you mean, is that it? What I mean is that, holy crap, I wanted this for so long. I now have everything I wanted, but there's nothing new. No new goals, no new things like that, you know? And it really hit me, and it felt like crap. Well, real quickly, I snapped out of it, and I was certainly appreciative of what I have. I'm grateful for a lot of things in my life. And then I went on a new path of new goals, new things like that. I have other business ventures I've been doing over the last couple of years, nothing to do with YouTube. They keep me busy. I've made some good friends down here. In the last 6 months, I've taken up riding bike. I haven't ridden bike in 30 years. I love doing that. And a bunch of other things that I enjoy. But it hit me hard at 45, like, holy crap, is this it? Because again, like a lot of guys out there, I don't have kids. I'm like a lot of you guys. If I had kids, that would be the purpose, but I don't. And so I have other things, other hobbies and interests I've been doing, and I've been doing great. I no longer had that funk. Maybe that'll hit me at 55. I don't know. But the point is, guys, is that it's purpose. It's new goals, new things to do, stuff like that. Now, some guys are just wired to have new achievements. Other guys are quite cool, not doing a whole lot, but they got to have some goal, some purpose getting out of bed. So for this guy here writing in, and all you guys out there that may be feeling like him, depressed, feeling like, what's the point of getting up? It's the same damn thing every day. You got to get off your butts and make something for yourself. You got to get off your butts and have new goals. For you, bro, I suggest, if you don't have much of a social circle, do what I did. Look to see if your town or school or community has good martial arts or boxing schools. Check them out. They'll let you do a free class. And that's a great way to learn skills, to make friends. I mean, there's no great way to bond with other cool dudes than beat the shit out of each other. Whether it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, rolling around the mat, or kickboxing, or karate, or boxing. Personally, I love boxing. That's my personal favorite of all the different things. But everybody's different, you know. I would recommend something like that to get out, new goals, new ambitions. You can say, shit, I want to join Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I want to become a black belt. Okay, well, you got 12 years to probably pull that off. But that's a long-term goal. Cool. Or a way to make friends, or get out there and socialize, something. Or maybe, I don't know if you have any dogs or cats, you know, adopt a dog or a cat. They could always use a good home. And you become a good, parent of a dog or a cat, and they can use the help, amongst many other things. And getting out there to know people. And also, I might add, that since you've been depressed and you put on a bunch of weight, that's great. You got the exercise equipment, but that's only part of the battle. The part of the battle to lose weight is a healthy diet. So I recommend, as a former personal trainer, seeing a doctor and say, okay, doc, I put on a bunch of weight. I got to lose it. I just want to make sure everything's cool. Get a physical, get the blood work. Just make sure everything's not getting kind of crazy. You're in your mid-30s. You should do a physical every year. All you guys out there should get physicals every year. The doctor will usually recommend a blood test. They can see if things are out of whack. And at that point, then, I would get on a good program, eating very healthy, because food and diet is key to losing body fat. And if you need professional help, get professional help, and you'll get there, I promise you. But again, when people are depressed, they fuel their depression, or they deal with it by eating a lot of crap, you know. And if you know you've been doing that, you know you've been doing that. And so my point is, man, get your body back into shape, okay? And then as you lose the weight, you'll feel better about yourself. But you got to find new goals and ambitions to You know, because I bet you for a little while you're feeling good because you have the new house, getting that going. Well, now you have that. Now it's like, what else? Or another thing is you're an electrician. I don't know if you own your own business or you work for somebody else, but maybe one day starting your own business. Is it possible the outfit you work for is looking for a partner? Is it possible they're looking to sell one day? Do you know other electricians that you could form a partnership with? Obviously, you don't want to compete with your current employer, but obviously in a different territory. Who knows? A new challenge, a new goal, new venture. So that's what I say to all you guys out there that feel like this guy, you're in a rut, there's nothing new. You know, I really do think it's a lack of purpose and goals. Again, everything is just, you've reached a point that's like the plateau. The same thing happened when I was 35. Like I said, you know, I had my own business, but it wasn't growing anymore. It was actually declining. I had a girlfriend. She was cool. Had a condo, 2 cats, had some friends, but it felt like a plateau. So I went out there and started a new goal, the martial arts. And that led me down to eventually the personal training, which eventually led me to going for it on YouTube. It eventually led me to a whole search of things, you know, and then being able to do what I do on YouTube. I can live anywhere. And doing very well, led me down to Florida and led me down to all the things I wanted. And then eventually I thought I had a plateau because like, holy crap, this is it? Even though I'm grateful and appreciate the beautiful house I'm in the area. It's a lot like guys that, you know, are adventurers, for lack of a better term, mountain climbers, and they plan forever to climb Mount Everest or one of the peaks of Mount Everest, and they finally get there, and they're at the top of the fucking mountain, looking down at the world, wishing they probably had a couple beers, and they're like, probably like, is this it? Like I've done it, and it's amazing, but now what? Well, they got to find a new mountain to climb, or a new goal, or something crazy. Swim the English Channel, sail a boat around the world. I don't know. Something new. So for you, my friend, all you guys out there, new goals, new ambitions, find something. And sometimes, like, it's all I guys say, I don't know what my purpose is. Well, it's interesting, but a lot of times the purpose kind of finds you. So that's why you try a lot of things and you discover you love it, and that can lead you down a new path. Joining martial arts, I freaking loved it from the get-go. It was awesome, and that led me down the personal training path, and eventually that led me down to YouTube, which I freaking love. So, man, I really think you really think about it. You get out of the house, make the effort, you'll figure something out, and you'll feel a hell of a lot better. But again, if you had kids, I think it'd be a different ball game. So, bro, you have the ability. You've kicked butt and done well in life. I'm proud of you, but now it's time to go to the next level because, you know, you don't want to spend the rest of your days depressed and all that. It's led you to gain a bunch of weight, and that's not healthy, and you know that, you know. But you could lose the weight. So for all you guys out there, I recommend that. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Guys, if you've been in a situation like this, give this guy some advice in the comment section. Really help him out. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.